right, welcome back to another episode of the Karter Cast. I'm your host, Karter Baughan. With me as always, Chase. Connor's not here. Happy Memorial Day. We're recording right now Monday, May 27th, a little after midnight Eastern time. On today's show today, we're going to do Celtics Pacers. Celtics, Chase, congrats, man. Celtics won. Sweep the Pacers. It's over. You got through no other injuries outside of Porzingis. You get to rest Porzingis. He's probably healthy, but now he gets to be hopefully 100% healthy going into the finals. We'll get into that. We'll also talk about the Mavs being up 3-0 on the Timberwolves as that series. Obviously, that series is probably over, but we get into that and do a little brief finals preview. We'll do a big final show with Connor and Chase as well later, either next week or later this week or early next week. And then we have some hypotheticals, and then rest in peace to Bill Walton. We'll talk about Bill Walton at the very end of the show. But before we get into today's episode, we are brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com for $20 off your first purchase. $50 minimum purchase required. Terms and conditions do apply. Use code KarterCast, KarterKast, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com for your next tickets to a baseball concert, whatever you're doing this summer. Use SeatGeek, best place to buy tickets, $20 off using code KarterCast. Let's get into the show. Celtics win 4-0. Sweep is over. A lot of close games in this series. Just overall thoughts from Celtics. Getting the job done, winning 4-0, winning some close games, actually.
Yeah. First off, I'm just happy, man. Celtics are in the finals. It's a great thing to have your team make it to the finals. I know you've never felt that, Karter, but they never will.
I've never felt the second round, Chase.
But this is such a great feeling, and just to be sappy for a bit. This is what sports is all about. Like, this is why you fan. This is why you love teams. This is why you go through it. So
this is why you bandwagon as a Boston fan. This is why you do these things.
This is why you endure all the bull crap you get from your friends. This is worth it. This is fun. But Boston got it done. Everyone knew they would. A couple people like to take hot takes. There's a few ESPN dudes out there that tried to take Pacers. I know Perkins was saying he saw this going 7 and blah blah blah. All the real hoop heads knew Boston was winning this. I thought that they would drop some games, and look, they probably should have, right? If the Pacers can hold themselves together. But at the end of the day, they get it done. They now have 10 days before Game 1 of the finals, which sucks for us, but is really good for the Boston Celtics. And hats off to Indiana. Still thinking
they're still living rent-free in your head.
Still in my head, bro. Hats off to Indiana for actually a pretty, hard-fought series. They could easily be up 3-1, Karter. That's the wildest part. But
dude, if Halliburton plays, it's a 2-2 series.
Okay. You got me on that earlier.
You got
me on that earlier with the text.
No. It's we knew this was going to happen. My biggest thing about the Boston Celtics in this playoffs have been, I feel like every Celtics game I have watched in these playoffs, I feel like I'm watching it on DVR. I'm watching it recorded, where I know the result of the game, but I'm just watching, okay, like, when do the Celtics turn it on? When are the Celtics finally going to pull away at the end? And the whole time, it feels like you're just watching a result you know is going to happen, especially in this series. The games were close, but you're like, the Pacers aren't going to close it out in the end. And I know we always talk about, the Celtics, they struggle in the last 2 minutes. Tatum likes to take bad shots in the last 2 minutes. And those things still can be true, but you just knew the results every single game. It was very reminiscent of Lakers-Nuggets last year. It didn't feel as intense, if that makes any sense. Like, watching these games, obviously they were intense, it was hard fought and whatnot, but Lakers-Nuggets, you didn't know the results. You didn't know the Nuggets were going to actually sweep the freaking LeBron Lakers. But you knew the Celtics were winning each of these games. Even when the Celtics went down 8 in the fourth quarter, 94-86, there really wasn't a doubt in anybody's mind that the Celtics were losing that game, in my opinion. It didn't feel like the Pacers had the ability to pull away, because when that game got tight, we saw the last 3 games, or we saw every game in this series. Whenever it got close, the Pacers just couldn't handle it in the clutch. They were so bad. And no player wanted the ball. No player can create their own shot. Every player just take it. It's hot potato at the end. I don't want it. Oh, crap, shot clock's at 5. Put up something. Drew Holiday's in my face. Oh, crap, what am I going to do? That was every possession at the end of these Pacers-Celtics games. And then the Celtics, were just a little bit better, I guess. I wouldn't say, Tim Legler went on Scott Van Pelt SportsCenter afterwards and was like, and Doris Burke was saying it throughout the broadcast. They were so poised and they were so connected and everything was going so well for the with the Celtics at the end of that game there, and they were just so calm. And I was like, they didn't look calm at all to me. Jaylen Brown on that last play was spinning out of control and then loses the ball and then kicks it out to Derek White on a bailout pass. Derek White nails a three, and all of a sudden everyone's poised. It's like, no, you didn't. You saw the result, I guess, is a poised result, but what does that even mean? The actual, if you watched it, it was complete chaos. It was ISO Jaylen Brown, spins, out of control, boom, give it to Derek White. And then on those other possessions, Tatum, go to the basket. For once in your life, Jason Tatum, go to the basket. And I don't want this to turn into, oh, Karter, you're already ragging on the Celtics after they just had one of the most dominant runs to the NBA Finals. They only lost 2 games, and they sweep the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and you're dogging the Celtics. No, I'm not dogging the Celtics, but these concerns have to be discussed because Jason Tatum is going to cost the Celtics at least 1 or 2 games in the NBA Finals if they play the Dallas Mavericks, which they probably will, if he keeps taking these James Harden step-back fadeaway threes with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. How about stop dancing for the first 10 seconds of the shot clock and run your offense? Like, what? Joe Mazzulla's just standing there with his arms folded, just like, hey, guys, just stand around. This is great. I love it. And nothing happens. It was so frustrating to watch. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a Celtics fan. If I'm a Celtics fan like yourself, I'm losing my mind. I'm sitting here. I would be throwing stuff at my TV saying, can you please, for once in your life, realize you are a 6'10 athletic freak of nature. Get to the basket. You can get to the basket free will against any of these guys on the Indiana Pacers. He was doing it all night long. And that's what I was going to say is that the first 3 quarters, you're watching this and you're like, any time that Jason Tatum went and took that stupid step-back fadeaway 3, the Pacers are like, sweet, possession off. Even if he makes it, they're like, fine, we'll live with that. That's great. Every single time he drove to the basket, you could see the Pacers. It put the fear into them. They were terrified. They were every possession. The defense is like, crap, dude. There's nothing they could do when he was extremely aggressive and driving to the basket. And even when they would collapse, he was able to kick it out to a guy like Derek White or Drew Holiday or Al Horford for 3. The blueprint is so easy for the Celtics. They just are silly. It's a matter of fact, they're just a silly team. But credit to the Boston Celtics. They deserved it. They were great. They showed a lot. Like I mentioned, Tatum turned it on. You could see a different switch in Tatum in those first 3 quarters where it's like, all right, let's take over a little bit. Let's take over these next 1 to 2 minutes right here. Let's not disappear. And he was phenomenal in this series. Absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't get enough credit just because he's not Anthony Edwards. He's not as exciting as Anthony Edwards or as fun as Steph Curry or, Luka Doncic is just crazy in itself. Luka's the better player, but Tatum's just not as exciting as him. Just phenomenal series for the Celtics. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Boy, you had a lot there. I got a lot
a lot to unpack there.
No, I love it. I think for average hoopers like us that go play pickup, I think at one point in our lives, if you're like a regular pickup player, you end up defending like easily the best guy on the floor, and you're like, holy crap. And that's kind of like what it's like defending Jason Tatum. But, when you're defending that guy in pickup and he just settles for a 3, you're so happy. You're like, oh gosh, I don't have to freaking play D on this guy.
You're 6'6", so you don't deal with this as much, especially playing pickup basketball. But when someone's 6'7", 6'8", and you're playing against them, you get switched onto them. I'm 6 foot. All of a sudden, they take a step back 3. I'm like, sweet. Even if you make that, great. I don't give a crap. If you drive on me, I'm cooked. I'm probably already slower than you, and you're 10 times more athletic and more taller than me. That was every play with Jason Tatum tonight. It was so frustrating when he would just take a stupid step back 3.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, everyone who's been in that situation, which is pretty much everyone who's played basketball at some point in their lives, knows what that's like. And they understand, like, we love those shots. And like, can Tatum hit him and get hot? Sure. And then that's killer. But it's not very often. His 3-point numbers are not what they should be. They're certainly not pretty. He's sitting in the 30%, Karter. So it's not going to be a consistent part of his game that's going to kill you over and over again. If you're the Pacers, or if you're anyone, especially the Mavericks coming up, assuming they win, of course, you'll take that. That's part of your game plan. What Jason Tatum needs to realize is that dudes poop their pants. the second he starts to put his head down and look for the hoop. Like, it's not rocket science. You and I see it. I'm sure Celtics fans and NBA fans really all over the world can see it clear as day. And that's where, Boston starts to struggle. But let's talk about the clutch real quick. You were talking about a few episodes ago, maybe a few weeks ago, like, let's see Boston in a close game. Let's see them in a close game. Right? Okay, so we get to see Boston in a few close games here. A couple with Cleveland, and then obviously 3 here in Indiana. It hasn't been pretty, Karter. But the point is, they got the job done. It's to an inferior Pacers team. All right, we know that, and we've known that the East has been weak all series long, right? All playoffs long. Before the playoffs even started, and all these guys got hurt that people love to bring up, we were saying Boston might go 12-0. That was before anyone else got hurt, right? We just knew this is how it's going to be, and so they play a weak Pacers team, but they come out of it alive every time. You have down 3 with the Pacers ball, 10 seconds, find a way to win that game in overtime. Down 20 at one point in the third quarter, I believe 18, right? Find yourself down 7 late, pull that one out. And then tonight, down 8 with 5 minutes left. Everything's looking Pacers. Nembhard's going nuts. He looks like the ghost of Gabe Vincent. You have McConnell playing out of his mind. Physical game in Indianapolis, a loud arena with passionate fans. Boston does it again. So, like I said, it's not pretty, and the offense is the big deal. But the point is, when their defense locks in, and when they are able to put effort into it, and they're like, okay, hold on a sec, we have Derek White, we have Drew Holiday, we have 2 long athletic wings, and we have a center who can block shots, who maybe has lost a bit of a step, but still, Al Horford's not a bad defender by any means, right? That's when they get it done. You have the Jaylen Brown block. You have steals from Drew Holiday that sealed Game 3, right? Those are the winning plays for the Celtics. Obviously, they've hit threes here and there to make that better, but that's kind of talent alone. But that's the problem with Boston, what you were talking about, right? They're relying on this talent. It's Jaylen Brown, I was with you. I was like, what is he doing right now? But he finds Derek White, who hits the 3, right? It's Jason Tatum, who hits that step back. It's Jaylen Brown, who takes, in Game 1, a crappy shot in the corner. I don't love that, right? But he hits it. Why? Because they're just good. Boston's just freaking good. They're the best 3-point shooting team in the league, and it got it done. My point is, Karter, they have shown their ability to perform in the clutch, right? But who is it against, and who are they going to be
that was
against
be my
the Mavericks? Point. Yeah, and playing defense against Nembhard, McConnell, and spin cycle Siakam is going to be different when you have Luka Doncic hunting Al Horford, right, with Kyrie sitting and waiting. PJ Washington's in the corner, and Derek Lively rim running. That's when things are going to get different. And then on offense, you need to figure out a way to keep up with the Mavericks, because it's not going to be like it happened with the Pacers, right? They ran out of gas. They ran out of magic. They gave it their best, right? They hit crazy shots, but in the end, they just didn't have it. Dallas is a different story. This is an offense that is going to be consistent with one of the best, if not the best, offensive player in the world, sans Jokic, probably one of the best ball handlers the game's ever seen, the best finishers at the rim. This is going to be different. And we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but
yeah. But I think that's the point to bring up with Boston in the clutch is, I did say that. I said I wanted to see them in the clutch, and I just don't know if I learned anything, if that makes sense. Because the thing is, I learned that they have the capability to win in the clutch, and that's what matters. Like, you do the cliche, oh, championship teams, championship teams just figure it out. They just figure it out. And that's truly what Boston did. Now, was there ever a doubt they were going to ever figure it out because the team was so inferior? Probably not. But that's not the point. Is the important part for Celtics fans and for the Celtics team is that mentally they can now tell themselves, we can win in the clutch. We've done it. We just did it in the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times in the clutch. We had no problems. The games were tight. We did it on the road multiple times. This shouldn't be an issue. And whether the offense, it doesn't look pretty. It looks terrible. It's an awful offense. Charles Barkley, after every Celtics game he ever does, is that offense is terrible. They're just winning on talent alone. And to some point I think that is true. Also, it does the result is what matters. It is, and that confidence that now this team who they've been punked by the Miami Heat. They've had more playoff scars than almost any team in the NBA right now, and that mental confidence of holy crap, we can do it in the clutch. we are the most talented team. We're here in the finals. We are. It's all ours. It's all ours. And I feel like that will just matter so much in the NBA finals. To the other side of things, you're going against the team that I would put all my money on. If it's a tie game, 1 minute left against almost any other team in the NBA at the moment, especially how things are being played right now, I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks. No matter, I think you would too.
As far as like getting a bucket, yeah, I would take Dallas.
Tie game, who are you taking to win it? Mavs or Celtics? You're taking the Mavericks.
I will say this.
Luka, you're taking Kyrie.
I will say this about the Celtics though, like the offense is chaotic. It's not pretty.
The defense, and you mentioned that.
Yeah, the defense, but also on offense, like they got buckets when they mattered. Like tonight, when they went down 8.
I don't know if that's necessarily the clutch with 6 minutes left, because the final 2 minutes is what we've talked about. The final 2 minutes, there was 3 points scored in the entire ballgame.
Right, they were deadlocked at 102.
And both teams had brown on their shorts the whole time. It was, who just poops their pants the most? And then Derek White was like, dude, I got y'all. I got y'all. And just nailed the 3.
But like but Boston's ability every time though to look like, because when the Pacers go up 8-7, it's like, okay, one more Pacers bucket and it's kind of nail in the coffin. But Boston, every time, it took them a minute to get it within 3 again. Like it was just like that. Like they seemed to be like, I don't know, toying with the Pacers a little bit. I know they weren't. Like they were trying really hard, but it was kind of like, okay, fine. Like, okay, fine, we'll score here. Like we'll actually try. Drew Holiday's going to get to the basket, get an and one real quick.
Yep.
We're going to find an open 3-point shooter. Derek White's now he's going to make a 3 because he hasn't shot well this series. It's almost like they just are saving up their tank. I know they're not. I know this, like they're not like actually doing this, but that's just kind of how it feels. Where they're like, let's save all our best shot making until we actually need it, because that's just what it looked like.
It's like a mix of the Nuggets last year, where they would just kind of toy with the Lakers. They would just like, remember that State Farm commercial where they have the fishing rod, like almost got you.
Gotta be quicker than that.
Yeah, you got to be quicker than that. Like it's almost like they were doing that to the Pacers a little bit, kind of how the Nuggets were last season, where they play with their food a little bit. But then it's also they kind of just play down to their competition. They know Halliburton's out. And you can't fake the desperation of being down 0-2, 0-3 at home. Like, the Pacers had everything to play for. If you're Andrew Nembhard, you're like, dude, I get to be the star. I get to run a team in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have all the freedom in the world. And so you could see him. He was playing carefree these last 2 games, and he's probably going to make a ton of money now just because of those 2 games where he got 25-plus points or whatever he got tonight. I'm not worried about Boston. I'm not. And I don't think, like, am I worried if it gets tied 1 minute left? I know I'm contradicting myself a little bit here, but like if tie game against the Dallas Mavericks, yeah, I'm worried, but will it get to that point? I don't know, because they've been blowing out teams all season. They blew out the Mavericks. Yes, it was before the trade deadline and when they played the second time. Not all guys were playing. I get that. But can they turn it on all the way? And I think they can. And I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but there's that extra gear the Celtics have, and they need to hit that extra gear in the NBA Finals. I know it's a lame term or whatever, very easy term to use.
Sure.
But it's true. Like, they've just been stuck in neutral. They're in cruise control. They're just chilling on an open highway going, they're just like, all right, we're going 75, 80. Put it on cruise control. Yeah. Touch the wheel on the Tesla every once in a while.
Let's talk about this, actually, because I was thinking, remember when LeBron played in those Miami teams, right? And the East was a joke back then. Like, the East has been a joke for a while, right? It was LeBron just crushing everyone. I don't know if it was a joke as much as just LeBron's greatness, right? But they used to.
It was a joke. Like, if you would have thrown half the. I mean, think about it now. Let's put Boston in the West. Not even talking about their result. If you put 1 through 7 healthy in the West, are they going to the finals?
I still think Boston's the best team in the league, but they play a lot more games.
No. Take out Boston. Like, Boston's not in this conversation at all. Like, let's say they're out.
See.
And it's you take any of these 1 through 7 Western Conference teams and throw them in the Eastern Conference. Are they making the finals? Between the Nuggets, they're making it.
Oh, yeah, no, not
Mavericks,
at all. No. Yeah, no way.
Yeah, Mavericks are making it. T-Wolves are making it. The Thunder, are they making the finals in the East? Probably.
That's like probably. you could see about experience, but no one in the East was. Yeah, no, the East is
Are the Clippers?
bad.
Probably.
They go to the conference finals for sure.
And if they get to play the Indiana Pacers, like, they're probably beating them.
You can't bet on the Clippers to go to the finals.
Are the Suns?
Oh man, the Suns got swept. Come on.
Okay. But against a Timberwolves team that would easily cakewalk through the Eastern Conference. The Suns are they're probably the betting favorite if they're sitting on the Eastern Conference.
Are you saying is the East healthy? Is the East healthy?
Yeah, that's the key. I would
take New York over a couple of those teams probably if they're healthy.
Even the Bucks?
Bucks Knicks healthy would be an awesome series. But
yeah,
that's just
also
hypothetical.
a lot of bricks. A lot of bricks.
Yeah, dude. A lot of you go let that guy shoot.
You're like, ooh, Julius Randle post up. This is what I tuned in for.
No, but my point is, Karter, this used to be a good thing. Like, LeBron and the Heat, or even some of those LeBron Cavs teams, would go to the finals and we'd be like, they're all rested up. Like, they're chilling. They didn't even have to try, right? Even though LeBron, hits, a ridiculous floater to beat LeBronto, right? And he does all these things. And the West is just killing themselves over and over. And Golden State has to they're down 3-1 to OKC. They have to come back and win that. Then they go up 3-1 and lose to the Cavs, right? This used to be a good thing, right? And everyone used to be like, wow, the East has it so easy. Like, LeBron and whatever team he's on, they're coming in fresh. They're coming in chilling. That doesn't seem to be the kind of narrative here with Boston. Everyone's kind of like, instead of like, oh, they're chilling, it's more like, uh-oh, they haven't been tested and they're not playoff ready. And things are going to be different. So I guess I'm just asking, why do you think that is? What's changed? Or is it just this team? Is it the fact that Eastern Conference is so bad? What do you think?
I think so much of the Celtics thing is that we've talked about it a bunch of times. Historically, statistically speaking, they're like the greatest team of all time. Statistically speaking, they are the best
One
team.
of, yeah.
Yeah. But the eye test tells you otherwise. The eye test tells you this team is so beatable. This team is so they just don't look like one of the all-time greats. Just a matter of fact, they don't. They don't look like a 2018 Warriors. They don't look like just those unbeatable Spurs teams throughout those years, like 07 Spurs. They don't look like one of those teams, but the stats tell you otherwise that they are. And so I think that's a little bit part of it. I think people just had bad taste in their mouths after, last year, losing to the freaking Heat. But then they kind of come back and then blow it again in Game 7. And they just keep having this bad taste in their mouth. And I also think they did a lot of damage to themselves on a PR side of things. After they made the Eastern Conference Finals, they kind of did what the Hawks did a little bit, where they just thought they were the greatest team ever. Ever. You remember, you're a Celtics fan, 18, 19, 20, they were talking about as if they were the 86 Celtics. They thought they were the greatest thing ever because they made that early conference finals appearance way earlier than they should have. I just think over time that stuff just kind of left bad taste in people's mouths, and then they actually aren't winning the big game when it matters. And just so many years. It's been, 7, 8 years of this. And it's still super impressive because these guys are still freaking young as crap. I think Tatum's still 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No, I saw his birth certificate. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 19. I swear. It's like the bench warmers. I am 12.
I am 12.
But I think that's and then you'll get just weird press conference stuff, and then the last part of it is, this better than anyone. Everyone hates Boston. No one wants Boston to win. No one wants to see the city of Boston win. Why would they? They've won everything. Multiple World Series, multiple Stanley Cups, most Super Bowls in the last 25 years by a mile. The NBA, they're the second most storied franchise in the NBA. They get everything.
They're the most storied franchise in the NBA.
Sure. It's them and the Lakers head to head. Who cares? But that's what I'm saying. They get everything, and people want to hate Boston, and I get it.
No, I think that's a good point about, this Boston team in particular. We've seen this group, it's Tatum and Brown for so long, and they haven't gotten over the hump for so long. They obviously did it in 22 and then lost to the Warriors.
And that's another thing to the bad taste in 22. Tatum was horrible in that finals, and it's like when you're watching, like how the quarterback discourse is whenever there's a primetime game, like Monday night Kirk Cousins. Oh, he's the worst quarterback ever. But then he strings together 5 good Sunday 1:00 performances. Everyone's like, this Kirk Cousins guy's pretty awesome. But then, he plays another Thursday night game, gets walloped, and they're like, this Kirk Cousins guy is trash. And that's kind of how the 22 finals were. And yeah, I think 22 finals left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially thinking about Tatum.
You're right. That's actually a good comparison. It's kind of like, dare I say, the Dallas Cowboys, where you're like, Cowboys are back, great team, blow it in the playoffs every year. Boston hasn't been to that extent, right? Because they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals so many times, and they've had great series, and they've won series they shouldn't have, and games they shouldn't have, but they haven't ever won the big one.
It's almost like the 49ers.
A long time. Yeah. No, it's actually a lot like the 49ers. They're definitely their NFL comparison.
Yeah, except you guys don't necessarily have like the Pat Mahomes you're going against. That would have been Steph Curry, but that you'd have to meet him multiple times for that comparison to work.
Sure. Well, perfectly, but a lot of things line up there. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Boston does get a lot of hate, but that's what I'm saying, man. Like, this. Like, every Celtics fan knows this. Like, the stats in the eye test don't match. They're not telling the truth. You're watching the games and you're just like, something is off here. It's just because the offense is just so stagnant sometimes. And you see Jaylen Brown go straight. Every time. It's not side to side. It is a bowling ball straight. The ball might move. He might do in and out dribble moves, or he might spin straight. But everything is just straight, clear out. And no, it makes me so mad whenever it's just a clear out Tatum dance fadeaway. Just, you know what? He's just better than that. He really is. He's just a better player than that. He could be used in so many better ways, and we're ruining his talent by doing that. And he could be so much. He could be like, that's the frustrating part about Tatum, is he has all the intangibles, everything in his power, the size, the athleticism, the shooting ability, everything to be an MVP in this league, to be the best player in this league. He can be better than Jokic. It's just the play style doesn't match up because he settles so much and he's not aggressive enough. It's that simple. Yeah,
to put just a couple stats behind what you're saying, Boston's the 4th best net team in net rating in NBA history. Teams ahead of them, 95-96 Bulls, 96-97 Bulls, and 2016-2017 Warriors. Only teams in NBA history. Good teams, Karter. Those are like the all-time greats, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about the Celtics, right? They didn't lose more than 2 games in a row all season. They have, I think, what are they, 76-20 now? Like, they have done ridiculous stuff. And you're right, the eye test is awful. But also the thing is, you see flashes of it where they move the ball and Tatum goes to the hoop and he kicks out and they make the right play and you're like, holy crap, this team could be an all-time team. Every bit of talent possible is there, not to talk about the defensive side of the ball. You have the best 2-guard lineup for defense in the entire league. The wings, and then Porzingis is in, you have an elite shot blocker. Like, it's all there, and sometimes you see it, right? Sometimes you're like, holy crap, this is what basketball, like, this is what James Naismith had in mind, and John Wooden, like, they would be crying right now. But other times, we've talked about it. They are just the silly, and no one knows it better than Celtics fans, me, who's watched every game and kept track of all the stats and seen all the ISO ball over and over and over again. It just doesn't make any sense. And so to sit here and say that Boston's going to all of a sudden change in the finals isn't fair, because they haven't shown us that they have. But on the other hand, and this is where it's like getting kind of fun and my mind's torn, on the other hand, the stats say they will, right? The stats say they're the best team statistically. They've won the most games by a mile, and they've cruised through the playoffs, right? 12-2 so far. So it's really hard to figure out exactly what this team is. I don't think we'll ever know unless they all of a sudden show us something here in the finals. They could still win the finals, Karter, and we could still be like, I don't think, like, why do I still feel like they're not that great? You know what I mean? Yeah. We'd be like, I still didn't see how amazing they were in this finals. Even though they could, like, win in 6, we'd be like, all right, they won. Like, they were the best team, but they didn't look like an all-time great team.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I 100% agree with that. Real quick on the Pacers side of things.
Yeah.
was this their chance? Like, I don't want to sound too ESPN hot takey, first take, like, the Indiana Pacers are done. Like, I don't want to do all that, but it has to be kind of mentioned because very few teams have been hand-gifted a path like this. I mean, they got the red carpet sent to them all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, easier than I've ever seen for a team that was a 6 seed. They got to play the Bucks without their best player the whole series and without their second best player for over half the series. They got to play the Knicks, who were the most decimated team maybe in NBA history by that point in the second round of the NBA playoffs. And then meanwhile, they're just getting ran out of gas, and then they have to run into a buzzsaw of Boston. But it kind of was their chance to make a finals, I guess, because I'll tell you what, I don't have a lot of fun watching Pascal Siakam ISO ball. I don't. And I don't think Pacers fans do either. Guess what? Miles Turner, not a fan. I'm just not a fan. And I don't know where you obviously run it back if you're the Pacers, but like it's the Hawks, 21 Hawks.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of the 21 Hawks.
Yeah, we've said it a lot.
Or
not only go ahead.
Or like the Lillard Blazers.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we get one of these teams out of the Final Four every year, where it's kind of like, they made it. Like, that's kind of cool. And then they never win, except for Miami, like last year.
Yeah, Miami last year was, but I guess last year would have been Boston because they suck. I'm just kidding. But it does feel like lately we get that one team you're like, really? All right. Like, the team where you're just like, okay, like, it's that Cinderella in the Final Four every year in March Madness. You're like, hey, NC State, really glad to have you, but I don't think you're winning this game.
You know what it is, Carter? It's like the Super Bowl loser. You've seen the statistics, right? Team that loses the Super Bowl has the most amazing drop-off the next year, right? We always have this in the NBA where it's like, people might do this with the Pacers. They might do this with the Timberwolves, right? Where it's like, tough loss, Eastern Conference Finals, young team. They'll be back. One of them's not going to be back, all right? And I'm more inclined to say the Pacers are not going to be back because the Wolves have built something, right?
Yeah, it's the Pacers because guess what? Not all of these guys are going to be injured in next year's playoffs. If the Knicks are 100% healthy, no shot they win that series. If the Bucks are 100% healthy, no shot they beat the Bucks. If any of these teams, there's a reason they were the 6th seed. I mean, let's be honest. Orlando goes head-to-head with Indiana. Who you taking?
I'm a little inclined to say Pacers just because I saw what they did to the Celtics. They still got swept.
It feels like a 7-game series, doesn't it?
Yeah. I tell you, it'd be awesome hoops. But
that would be fun, actually.
Yeah. Indiana also had 3 games in their back pocket that they let slip from Boston. This is not only their best chance to win, go to a finals in the last however many years. It's their best chance for, 15, 20 years, unless they draft someone generational. This is not happening again for them. Sorry, Pacers fans. I don't mean to be mean, but this is just how it goes in the league. You're never going to have a chance like this. This was it.
Yeah, and but I would kill for this. If it was a Hornets fan, I've never, I said, I've never seen the second round as a Hornets fan, so I'd kill for that as a Pacers. Could you think about we're in Utah? Could you think about Jazz fans? What they would do?
Oh my gosh!
What horrible things they would do just to have a sniff of the Western Conference Finals again? I mean, there are statues for guys that didn't even win a title here.
Yeah, that did very suspect things to young girls. Yeah, no, they would sell their souls, Utah Jazz fans. They would.
Yeah,
they would.
Just to be just to have Lauri Markkanen in the Western Conference Finals to get smacked by
finisher.
Denver. Yeah, by everyone, because what are the Jazz going to do? But yeah, it stings for the Pacers. They're a fun team. I really like Rick Carlisle, man. I watched the whole pregame and postgame press conferences. He was talking about Bill Walton and everything, and then talking about the game in general and stuff. I just love the way they play. They just play such a good brand of basketball. The talent's just not quite there, though. Miles Turner, that switch is just missing in Miles Turner. He has all the talent in the world. He has all the size and the ability you could ever ask for. He's kind of the Walmart version of Cat. I texted you during this game. I said, Could you imagine Miles Turner and Karl Anthony Towns on the court together? Like, you're like, these guys can spread the floor, hit threes. Like, the one game out of 20, it would look unbelievable. You're like, these guys are on it. Miles Turner swatting every shot. They're both knocking down threes. And then every other game, they're committing dumb, silly fouls, getting into stupid arguments, and then getting cooked on defense when they shouldn't. Like, but the Pacers and Siakam as your number 1.5, I guess, 2, 1, like, that just doesn't do it. It's just he's just not a good enough player to be your number 1 option.
Yeah,
it's just how it is.
Yeah. We've done a lot of dumping on the Pacers, but I think we're right. But I'll say this: it was a lot of fun watching them. They're scary, dude. Like I said this on the last time we recorded. Like, if this was a 1-game series, I would have been super afraid. I knew they weren't going to keep up for 7 games, and obviously 4 didn't work out. But they had Boston right where they wanted them 3 times. And they didn't get it done, and that's credit to Boston. We already talked a lot about them, but they were fun. They can freaking shoot the ball, Karter. Oh my gosh, they're like. I mean,
arguably they were the better team for 45, 46 minutes out of every game in this.
Oh, series. if NBA basketball games are 46 minutes, then Pacers are up 3-1, right? Hypothetically, of course, but they're just a typical like Indiana basketball team, like the AAU team. That's like they're mostly white, and you're like. These guys, like, they're from Indiana. It's like, oh shoot, and then they just are absolutely lighting the net on fire. Yeah. Like that's Indiana basketball, and they have a great fan base. The problem is, like Turner, they tied themselves a little bit too much. They have no rim protectors, and we don't need to get into Pacers offseason stuff. But respect to the Pacers.
Shout out the Pacers. Credit to them. How difficult was it for you as a Boston Celtics fan to have to root against a guy like T.J. McConnell?
Dude, it was hard. I really trust that guy. TJ McConnell flopped on that Jaylen Brown foul. So. I
don't want to hear it because then everyone's like, Ian Jackson kicked him in the face. He should get burned for that.
I don't think he got it on purpose, but Peyton Pritchard's face was beat up. He got hit pretty hard. Just saying.
Dude, TJ McConnell got smacked in the face on that one from Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, he looked fine though. No bruises, no blood.
Anyhow, that's it from the Eastern Conference. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with T-Wolves Mavs. All right, let's talk about the Western Conference Finals. Mavs are up 3-0 on the Timberwolves. We talked about this series before when we previewed it. I believe you and Connor said Timberwolves in 7, so it's still alive for you guys. I said Mavs in 7, so even that one's like not looking great because the Mavs look like they're about to sweep the Timberwolves. But Mavs up 3-0, 3 games. Do you want to start with the Timberwolves or the Mavs here?
Let's talk Timberwolves because Mavs are moving on. We'll end with them.
Okay. All right, I'll let you start.
Okay. The Timberwolves. Timberwolves fans, I kind of know how you're feeling. This team actually reminds me a lot of Boston, 4 years ago, where they're young and all of a sudden they're on the scene. They're going to the conference finals. They're beating teams that no one expected them to, and then it's like, what happened to the basketball team I know and love? I'm shocked, Karter, and I need to once again apologize to Mavs fans. I'll talk about them later. I was totally wrong about them and about this Minnesota team. It's disappointing because I think we all had high hopes for them, and we saw flashes of a team that could be truly great. And we just haven't seen, I can't quite put my finger on it, but seeing their potential and seeing them understand the stakes, it's almost as if they forgot this is the Western Conference Finals and this is the playoffs and you need to win these things and you can't lose 4 or you're done.
But the funniest part is that kind of attitude almost played into them winning Game 7,
right?
And against the Nuggets because they're like, we have no pressure. I don't give a crap. Like, we're gonna go in and we're gonna ball it. And that's what they did in the second half of that game. In the first half, it looked like what we've seen in the first 3 games of this series, where they're just like, man, we don't care. Like, they're just like kind of dicking around. You're like, come on, man, pick it up. But keep going.
It's like, when you become an underdog and then overnight all of a sudden you're favored, it's a mentality switch. You kind of got to be ready for it. They weren't, and I don't blame them. I'm not going to dog on the Timberwolves too much. This is their first year, like being here. This is kind of how it goes. Dallas, is a good team, and we'll again. I keep getting ahead of myself. All right, let's talk players specifically. Cat's been a disappointment.
Before we do that, let me get my thing out of the way.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Credit to the Timberwolves. This is an amazing run, but I have some things to say about their players individually. But shout out the Timberwolves, great run. I love Ant. They're going to be a very fun team to watch for years to come. All right, let's start.
All right, let's start with Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. All right, you've seen the stats on Twitter if you're listening to this. Generationally awful series for him. So bad. Could not hit a broadside of a barn from someone who claims to be a really great three-point shooter, who actually
1,500 shots a day.
Who is a three-point shooter. He doesn't need to be justifying himself to the media after the game. All right, Kat? We saw you in the playoffs. You had some good moments. He's bad, Karter. Against a team where I really think he could have had an advantage here.
Yeah.
Because, Lively's taking the Gobert defensive assignment. So who's guarding Cat? Someone definitely 4 inches or less or more shorter than
4
him.
inches is a gargantuan amount.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like
that's what I'm saying.
4 inches is enormous.
Huge, dude.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Way above, the typical.
Yeah. Way above average. That's
way above average, but it goes without saying. But.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, right? He has this massive advantage over whoever's guarding him, and he's just been settling for threes because I think that's kind of what he got used to, right? This Denver series. That was what they needed him to be. That's not what they need him to be here. He's shown an inability to kind of adapt to the series and make adjustments himself as a player, and it hasn't worked out. You have far more nasty thoughts. I don't want to hear yours. Go ahead.
Well, mine aren't as nasty towards Cat. It's more so, if this is who he is, then what are we doing? Why would we run this back? If you can get something in return for him, I don't know what that would look like. But what are we going to keep? Why are we going to keep doing this? If we know this is what it's going to be, I think Game 3 was one of the all-time. That was horrific. And we saw Game 2, we saw they kept Cat on the bench when it got tight. And they kept Nasri in that game. And I think that told you everything you needed to know. And then Game 3, he was so historically bad. That is one of those games you're going to pinpoint to in his career where you're like, oh no, that was the game where the Timberwolves realized this guy can't be a part of our future anymore. He can't be this guy that we are going to pay $500 billion to with this new TV deal. We can't roll into the future and have him with Ant. We need to make this move. As sports fans, we can be so dramatic and so the recency bias can be ridiculous. And we're like, trade, get this guy out of here. I think recency bias is justified in this. It was so bad. If you actually watch the game, I mean, just the 3-point attempts. Every time he drove to the basket, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was a giraffe on skates. I mean, it was horrific every single time. He's just not there in the games like you mentioned. You talk about, they just weren't into this, realizing, holy crap, the stakes that are at hand. It felt like they were just dicking around on a Tuesday night against the Wizards. And it's so frustrating because he has, not Jason Tatum's a different stratosphere from where Cat is, but Cat has all this talent in the world. There's a reason he went number 1 overall in the draft. There's a reason that Kentucky team goes 38-1. There's a reason he gets paid all this money. There's a reason he gets talked about in this way because he has this talent. He doesn't have that higher gear, though. He just doesn't, and it's never going to click. He can send him to the Hawks, send him wherever. If I'm Minnesota, it's let's get rid of Cat. Let's trade Cat. Let's look into our options. Seriously now, instead of, hey, this was fun, this was cute, run it back. Why are we wasting our time? Why would you waste your time all of a sudden and say, oh, we can run it back. We made it to the Western Conference with Cat last year. Maybe he figures it out. I think you know your answer, and I think it needs to happen this offseason.
I think you're right. I don't think it will.
No, it won't. And they're going to run it back because we always talk ourselves into, could Brandon Ingram get traded for Cat? Could Trae Young get traded for Cat? We'll come up with all these crazy Cat trades, and then nothing's going to happen because both teams want too much in return.
No, it's really, sad to see Karter because he had such a good, Game 7 against Denver.
He was awesome against Denver in some of those games. I mean,
and you're like, holy crap.
Game 2, that first half, you're like, holy crap, where's this guy been? This guy can dominate in the playoffs all of a sudden. And then these first 3 games, he's unplayable. He's genuinely unplayable. It's almost Naz Reid should be starting over him at this point.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Well, at this point, wouldn't you rather take Naz Reid? I mean, that guy's pretty much knocked down right now, right? And he's playing better defense than Cat. So, and he doesn't take dumb, stupid half-court fouls. So why not take Naz Reid over Cat? It's all mental for him, and he has the talent like you talked about. It's not working out, all right? And he's not the biggest reason here that the Timberwolves are losing, but he's a big part of it.
Ant's been bad. Ant's been real bad in this series, and we can get into him right now if you want.
Let's do it. My cat's so dumb.
Ant just hasn't stepped up in this series, and that's fine. He's young. This is like, every podcast you listen to is going to talk about the same thing. You got to go through your playoff scars. Everybody has it. Tatum in that Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron. It was at 17, right? Or 18?
Yeah.
18? 17?
Yeah.
Was he 17?
Yeah.
No. 18?
It was 18. 17, 18 season.
Okay.
My
17,
bad.
18, yeah, because I was about to say, I thought he's at Duke in 17. But anyhow, besides the point. But it's like Tatum getting those playoff scars, and you just got to win these games. And this is expected. And, it's just crazy what we saw in those first 2 rounds because it's just insane. He's so young, and he was doing all this. And but, I mean, he just didn't step up, and he's a huge reason to blame for this as well. Like, everyone is going to have a share of the blame here, whether it's coaching, whether it's players and whatnot. But I think he should have a little more excuses. Is that fair to say? Like, I think he deserves more excuses because due to his age and, hey, a lot of this is being put on him at this point in his career rather than these older guys who are getting paid very handsomely that aren't stepping up.
Yeah. I have a lot of Anthony Edwards thoughts, and I know you do too, so I'll keep mine brief because I know you have some things that we've been talking about off the pod that you're going to fire off, and I can't wait to hear. But here's the thing with Ant, right? He's 22 years old, so you can't get on him too much. This is his first big playoff games, obviously, ever. He's shown that he can do awesome things. When it comes down to it, though, he hasn't. One thing I will give him, he seems to care more than everyone else on that team. Like, he's the one player who I was kind of like, all right, this guy actually kind of gets it. He has that just insane dunk on Gafford, right? And he's talking his stuff. It was awesome. And you're like, all right, like this he's here for the moment. He knows what's going on. He just hasn't performed. He hasn't put the ball in the basket. People like to compare Tatum to Kobe. How about Ant Edwards in Kobe's early years? Like, he's taking the shots. He has that killer mentality. He's putting up stinkers. It's bricks, and it's like, dude, what happened? Your mid-range is whack.
But it's just inconsistent. That's the problem because that third quarter in Game 3, every Mavs fan, every Mavs fan around the world is sitting there like, crap. And we can't stop him. When he was going like that, you're like, he's the most unstoppable player in the league when he's on like he was for that 4 minute stretch in the third quarter.
Yeah, but he's just... That's the thing. Like, if you take that many shots, like, you need to be able to put it in. And he has those phases where he does, but the majority of it, he's not, and that's killing the team because he needs to be the leading scorer. Like, it's no longer team ball on the Timberwolves. All right, like,
yep.
It's look at the Mavs. Look at Luka. He's the offense. He's that dude, and then he gets to facilitate. Ant needs to hike up his big boy pants if they want to win this series, right? And say, look, guys, it's me. I'm the offense. You guys be ready to shoot, cut. I'll get you your looks. But this needs to run through me now. And he doesn't want to do that. Obviously, there was the end of a couple games here. He threw the ball away, right? He looked for someone else to take the last shot. And, he made good plays, being doubled, whatever. But at some point, you got to say, look, dude, this is me. I'm going to get that bucket. He's been taking shots here and there, but it seems in these crunch time moments, he's just kind of lost the feel for the offense and where he should be, what he should be doing, and it looks a little scared. As a 22-year-old should. So I just want to say I'm not trying to trash Ant. Like, I like him. He's so fun. He does things that are just, like, insane, and you're like, holy crap. He's missing a lot of experience. He's still young, and, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think a lot of it, too, is Chris Finch mentioned this in the pregame for Game 3. He goes, Ant needs to speed up, Cat needs to slow down. And I think Anthony Edwards is playing right now at a regular season tempo. So when he's one-on-one on a player getting ready to drive and they're shading the defender shading over to help on a double team or whatever on the drive, he is still going at a regular season pace where he's kind of slow, taking his time because he thinks he can, I'm just going to dish it out. But those options aren't there in the playoffs at the moment. But when that third quarter stretch happens, he's just going. He's not thinking about the possession. He says, I'm just going to get mine. I'm going to go. I'm going to get my shot. And he was aggressive to his spot in the mid-range game, aggressive to the basket, because every time he goes into the, he drives to the basket, and then whoever, Derek Lively comes over to help on a switch or whatever, or comes to help, and he goes up for the dunk. You think he's going to yam it on that guy every single time. I don't care if it's Yao Ming or if it's Drew Holiday. You think he's going to yam it on that guy every single time. And I just feel like that same aggression hasn't been there this series as it was at points in the Denver series because, like I said, I think he's just playing at a regular season pace right now, which is frustrating to watch.
And he's getting tired, Karter. You've seen that stuff? It's kind of
also the Mike Conley stuff shouldn't be understated as well because Mike Conley takes a big weight off his shoulders. And that's why you're going to see the Timberwolves being talked about left and right in Trae Young and Darius Garland trades all offseason.
Yeah. Yeah. But the Ant getting tired stuff's a little concerning too. It's like, were you not ready for the playoffs? He's an athletic young dude. There's guys, Jokic plays 46 minutes. He looks like, a hippopotamus sometimes running down the court, but at least he's playing. He's out there,
Yeah, and also the weird thing about that with Ant too is he's picking his spots too. It's not like he's going full blast 100% every possession.
Yeah,
he's really picking his spots, and he's not putting up Kobe 30 shots a game. He's, he was putting up 14, 15 shots a game too.
Yeah, like you say, he's playing like a regular season pace, and yet he's tired like he's playing double overtime. It doesn't make.
Yeah, he's playing a back-to-back in Utah.
Yeah, I think what was that thing that came out a couple of years ago that he eats 10 bags of Chester Cheetos a day or whatever, Chester's hot Cheetos or whatever.
Chester's hot fries.
Yeah, hot fries.
Had some the other day. They were fantastic.
Are the hot fries catching up to Ant Edwards next on ESPN?
Is Anthony Edwards sneaky, that girl in your middle school, high school gym class wearing the Cookie Monster pajamas, a Monster Energy hat, eating Takis while walking the track? Meanwhile, he's like, I got to go play Game 7 against the Nuggets. But, yeah, it's been disappointing, but this is fine. This is fine for Anthony Edwards. This isn't a bad thing. But you talked about the things we want to talk about. We talked about off the airs. We did this whole thing where Anthony Edwards, he's the next Michael Jordan and whatnot. And when you watch him, obviously we never got to see Jordan live, but when you match up the film and you watch the highlights and everything, you're like, there's so much Jordan here. And even people who'd watched him in the 90s, they're like, man, dude, this is the closest thing I've seen to Jordan. His actual play style does reflect that. Career trajectory, it's almost like Paul George Pacers. It's, Paul George Pacers with an elite LeBron James level PR team. Elite. Because you remember the Paul George Indiana Pacers series against the Heat in 12 and 13. He had those unbelievable dunks, sick highlight plays, but he was inconsistent in those series, especially in 12 when he wasn't playing as much and he wasn't as, the main guy as much. But he wasn't as consistent in those series and kind of put up some stinkers in some of those. And I worry that he falls into that Paul George trap. Now, Paul George is not a bad thing to be. It's not, especially Paul George with no injuries. We're talking about just an MVP level player. Paul George, no injuries. He's an insane player, but it's the team part of it too with Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, where it's kind of similar to those Pacers teams where you're like, okay, we're tied up into Roy Hibbert and these other guys. Can I actually win in Indiana? Am I going to spend too much time in Indiana where I don't force my way out and I force my way into a weird OKC situation and then into a weird Clippers situation, and then down the line I see myself with no titles at the end. I hope that doesn't happen to Anthony Edwards, and I don't think it will, because I think he'll be better than Paul George when it's all said and done, as long as he stays healthy and stays out of trouble and whatnot. But yeah, his career trajectory and kind of how it's going is good PR Paul George.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty apt description of what we're seeing right now. The difference is, like you were saying, Ant has the potential to pass that up. I don't know if I'd ever see Paul George as the best player on a title team.
But in 13, when he was doing that at a young age, I mean, he was going toe-to-toe with effing LeBron James in 2013.
Yeah.
And during that series, you're like, this is the guy. Like, this is the next guy in the NBA right now. And he was supposed to be the one to step up and win MVPs. And that's where I think the Paul George comparison is accurate, too, with Anthony Edwards is so far in his career, yes, he's ridiculously young, so this should be taken with a grain of salt. He's not an MVP candidate. He's just not. He's not in the Jokic, Luka, SGA. He doesn't have that consistency yet for an entire regular season, and that's what the all-time greats do. Every all-time great has won an MVP. You have to. And can Anthony Edwards do it? Probably, but Paul George couldn't. And at the moment, he's in that Paul George realm.
Right. Like I was saying, I don't think Paul George could ever be the best guy on a title team. I never saw that. I do think
even in 13, I mean, it was unbelievable that season where you're like, this. I mean, he was one game away from taking down that freaking Heat team in 13.
Yeah, but were they ever going to win the finals, Karter? That Pacers team.
Because the Spurs won it in 14. I don't know.
I mean,
probably not.
That was like this Pacers team. Like, that was their chance, man.
No. Well, technically, yeah, it was their chance, but
that's
they
what
were better than this Pacers team because
obviously, I just more meant like that was their kind of their chance. Ant Edwards, I can see become right now, no, but I can see him becoming the best guy on a title team.
Oh, I think right now, I think he will be the best player on a title team. I don't think it's if. I think he will be.
Yeah. So my question for you is, do you see that ever happening in Minnesota?
No.
Or is Ant going to have to leave? Okay.
He's going to have. I think Anthony Edwards is going to have to leave Minnesota just because too many of their assets are tied up into Cat and Rudy Gobert, and I just don't think those are the people they can win with. Unless they get a ridiculous trade haul somehow for one of those guys, which they won't, and they somehow get lucky with free agent signings and good trades where they pair up Ant with good players, or unless he takes this unreal step that we've never seen in an NBA player. Otherwise, no, he's not going to be able to win in Minnesota, and he's going to have to Garnett his way out of there.
Yeah, my heart goes out because that sucks. Like, it happens to every small market team, man. You draft a generational guy, and then he dips.
Yeah, and it sucks for the fans because going back, you don't give up that much for Rudy Gobert. And we can get into the Rudy Gobert stuff because I could do a 3-hour podcast on just Rudy Gobert stuff alone because look, he wasn't the worst player. He was not. And he's not the sole reason they're down 3-0 to the Mavs. No way, not at all. He was fine. But people have to stop. The two sides of the Rudy Gobert argument are both stupid. It's like Republicans and Democrats. They're both stupid. Both sides of the Rudy Gobert argument. Let's do the Rudy Gobert truthers and the ones that believe in him. One, they look at all the regular season stats and what he does, and, look at his plus-minus and everything. The problem is he's getting attacked in the biggest moments. You know what the Mavs wanted in Game 1? I believe it was Game 1? Game 2? Game 1, Game 2. When did Luka hit that big three?
Oh, that was just his last game, Game 3.
Was that Game 3? I'm losing track here. There's so many games. Anyhow, but when Luka goes after Gobert, that was the play. They got in the timeout and said, hey, get that switch on to Gobert, go one-on-one, cook him. And that's what happened. That's not a defensive player of the year. That's not a 4-time defensive player of the year, greatness, all this stuff. Like, we got to stop doing this with these centers. And also, the defense is fine. He's a great help defender. Unbelievable. One of the best help defenders, for sure. He's a fine post defender. The other problem is his offensive game is a liability. No questions about it. Especially in the playoffs, you can't spread the floor with him. It's just so tight in the paint, and he just offers nothing on the offensive end, especially without having a point guard that can really be a great lob threat to him. That's why I think the Trae Young or Garland rumors should be happening, because they can actually use him as a lob threat, unlike Conley or whoever else on the Timberwolves. But the offensive end, it's so bad. I mean, he gets a post up against Luka. Luka straight up just does the old man at the Y and just whap right around his right elbow. Whap, just right around him. Steal, easy. And now to the Gobert truthers out there, and people who hate on him, it's a little unfair. He's a fine defender and whatnot. But the issue is people are like, he just gets too much hate, and it's not fair. it 100%, the hate Rudy Gobert gets is 100% fair. It's 100% fair. If you're a max guy and you get a generational trade haul for you, you should be judged accordingly. That's how it should be. That's how you're going to be judged. If you're making $50 million a year and you get 7 first-round picks plus other guys and plus pick swaps, that's how you're going to be judged. That's what your associated value is. Guess what? He's nowhere near that, and that's the problem. And he should be judged like that, and he's just nowhere near that. And that's where the Timberwolves are in deep trouble, I think, for the future. And that's why Anthony Edwards is eventually going to have to force his way out unless he's just like, man, I love Minnesota, and he's just going to be one of those guys.
Yeah. For those listening, the Luka 3 was game 2. My apologies.
Game
but
2.
In game 3, in game 3, we had Jaden Hardy absolutely just iso balling on
Hardy.
Yeah.
Hardy.
Yeah.
He's the one who wanted to go after him. And you can say, okay, well, that's any big in the NBA. That's any big in the NBA is going to get switched onto a guard and have trouble. And that's true because these guys are just so ridiculously talented now. But the other side of that is, guess what? These guys aren't hunting out Anthony Davis. They're just not. And if Anthony Davis is durable, he's the defensive player of the year, and he's all this. I mean, because he's got it on both sides of the ball. He's a better defender than Rudy Gobert in every stretch of your. I mean, he's a better help defender. He's a better post defender. He can switch on to guards better. In every way, he's better than Rudy Gobert, even on the defensive end. And that's where it frustrates me. We're going to talk about Rudy Gobert as this 4-time defensive player of the year, but like these regular season accolades, it just doesn't back up. It's like the Celtics. The eye test just doesn't match up.
Yeah. In 20 years, kids are going to be like, man, Rudy Gobert? Like, who is this guy? 4 depoys. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my gosh, this guy must have been one of the best defenders of all time. And we're going to be like, I mean, he blocked a lot of shots. He was really tall, but like.
He blocked a lot of shots against the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah. But like, Wemby was always better. And, AD was always better than him. And
Yeah.
even Giannis. Anyway.
I don't think we're going to be talking about Rudy Gobert in 10, 20 years.
I'm just saying, when they look back and they're like, what the crap this dude won? Like, it'd be like, who's Gobert, dude? We would be like, yeah, he was just some French dude, really tall.
But yeah, no, I think the other question is, if you were to give up Cat or Gobert, if you're, let's pretend you're the Minnesota Timberwolves GM, who you giving up? Who are you trading?
Cat, right? Because of everything you put into Gobert, you have to justify that action for at least a couple more years. And Cat's like, he's been there forever, and he's kind of like but then again, like maybe you want to keep him because of that. But for me, it's like Cat's kind of showing who you are, and Gobert's kind of like, we put all our marbles into this basket kind of deal. And so like, we're going to let Cat spread his wings and see what he can give us in return. And
also, I think Cat just has better trade value, so that's why you'd have to get rid of Cat. But I don't think it's. Yeah, but I don't think that fit will work in the future. I don't think that's an NBA Finals front court.
No, I don't.
No. Should we go to the Mavs?
Let's
That was a
talk
long
Mavs.
time. That was a long time on the Timberwolves, but I think it was warranted. But Mavs, awesome. This is what I expected. This is everything. When I was making the series prediction, I was like, I want to go Mavs. I want to go Mavs so bad. My mind and media and everything I read online is telling me Timberwolves, and then my heart of hearts, I was just the Mavs are going to win. If the game is close, the Mavs are winning that game 100% of the time. What have we seen the first 3 games? The games have been close. The Mavs have won 100% of the times. Mm-hmm. And even when Kyrie misses 2 free throws, doesn't matter. He goes down and hits a contested baseline 3. It doesn't matter. They are, and there's a difference between the Celtics in the clutch winning and the Mavs in the clutch winning, because you're scared on the other side. You are terrified of the other side if you're a Timberwolves fan. When Luka has that ball, he's doing that little 2 dribble through the legs, and all of a sudden you're like, how do you stop that? How do you stop that step back 3? And tight games, they're going to win 100% of the time. That's just how it is. I mean, they're just so good in the clutch, and they're these role players, man. You mentioned it. You were drooling after P.J. Washington, Derek Jones, Derek Light. Like, these guys are awesome, man. I mean, they're playing out of their minds. I mean, P.J. Washington, he's not playing at the all-star level like he was early in the OKC series, but Doesn't matter. Like, other guys are stepping up, whether it's Hardy, whether it's Green, whether it's Lively, whether it's Gafford, whether it's Jones, luckily it's not Tim Hardaway. But these guys are just stepping up, and they're on it, man. They caught fire at the right time, and it's fun to watch. It really is. I used to pre-trade deadline Mavericks for the last, 4 or 5 years, the Luka Mavs. I haven't liked watching it. It was too much like it was like a worse version of the James Harden Rockets. I was like, I hated watching the James Harden Rockets even when they were good, and I hated watching the Mavs. And since, the trades and everything, they've just been awesome. So I know I said this once and I'll say it again, but shout out to the Mavs and Celtics front office, because we spend all this time talking about fake trades and drafts and everything. This is why. These two front offices, the Mavs took a huge gamble on Kyrie, pretty big, sizable gamble on P.J. Washington as well. Meanwhile, the Celtics are like, hey, we have this fan favorite Marcus Smart. I don't care. Let's go get the right guys in here. Let's go get Chris Stapps. Let's go get Drew Holiday. I mean, it's just masterclass front offices. Celtics is more masterclass. Mavs they put in a plus 5,000 parlay and it cashed. It felt like, where they're just like, these are kind of our only moves to have a chance at winning the finals. So F it, let's do it, and it worked out.
It did. I love this Mavs team, Karter. Like, I love the way they're made up. I really hope Lively comes back soon and nothing's too serious there, although it sounds like he's not coming back tomorrow night. But they're just so fun, and depending on what they do here, they obviously have a chance to go win the finals, win the NBA title. This might be one of, if not the greatest trade deadline move to win moments in NBA history, like ever.
You want to know something too? Us Hornets fans, we were kind of taking victory laps after that trade.
PJ Washington.
We're like, we got a first round pick and Grant Williams and Seth Curry and Micic. We're chilling. We won this trade. We fleeced the Mavericks. Well, not fleeced, but like, we won this trade for sure against the Mavericks. Now, oh my gosh, man, PJ Washington playing unbelievable ball, and shout out to him. He deserves it. He's a great player. I love, like you said, I love watching this Mavs team too.
Yeah, this is a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. They purposely did that, right? So it's a little tainted. Like, they could have easily made the play-in, but whatever. Yeah. But to be in this situation now, especially like after what their first 30, 40 games, what we saw is really special. I'm not ready. I'm trying not to overreact, because we do this every year, right? We do this every week when a series goes one way and we're like, oh my gosh, this team.
So you're saying the Timberwolves can come back and win in 7?
That's not what I'm saying. They would have to make history, and it's not happening. I had that hope, Timberwolves fans. I felt like you did last year. I thought Boston could do it, and no, they can't. It's someone will do it eventually, but it could be the Timberwolves. Anyway, but this Mavericks team, man, I'm trying not to overreact, because then we're going to be like, oh, this Mavericks team, like, even if they lose the finals, wait till next year. Next year we could see Luka go back to, like, all right, me ball. Like, that playoffs was fun, but now let's go ahead and take a bunch of shots and win the MVP. But as of right now, so did you have something to say?
I was going to say, I feel like it's more so they're just going to be even if they lose in the finals, whatever happens from now on, like, once they make the finals, whether they win it or lose it, that team is going to be so ridiculously bored with the regular season. It's going to be a generational type, holy crap, we don't give a crap about Friday night ESPN game.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's in the future. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't think this Mavs team is like, oh my gosh, they're due to knock off in the West. But they've done this thing in these playoffs and have figured out how to unlock everyone on the team, which is a huge credit to a lot of people, the front office, Jason Kidd, for figuring out and dealing with one of the highest usage rates and bigger, I don't want to say egos, but maybe attitudes in the league, and Luka Doncic, right? Mm-hmm. And figuring out a way to make this team mesh. And a credit to Luka himself, right? Who has traditionally, like you said, he turned into like those James Harden Rockets, and he takes all the shots, and he deserves them. He's one of the best players in the league, and he's been able to find a niche in here. The balance is beautiful. We have the role players stepping up. Dallas is playing good defense, Carter.
Yeah.
Even Luka's playing his part, right?
That's the underrated part, because we'll talk, like when we do a big finals preview, we'll go back and look at the stats from when they played, and I believe it was December and March, and the scores are like 139 to 120 and 129 to 120. It's like that's just not happening in the NBA Finals, because both teams. Well, one, the Celtics defense is unbelievable too, but the Mavs defense is another animal in these playoffs, and it just gets better game by game.
Yeah. And I want to, sorry, I love the defense. I was going to talk a little bit more about the offense. Luka's been able to figure out this balance between, all right, I'm the guy. Like, this is my team. And he's like, I'm going to go get a bucket here. He does it, right? And then he does it when he's like, Kyrie, your turn. Let's go get a bucket. You know, I'm like, just a little dump off to Gafford. I know if I can pull his guy off, that's going to go in. I can see PJ in the corner. He's going to be open. He's really figured it out. The one thing I'll say, and I don't know if we're ready to talk negatives about this team yet, they still do the whole, I'm going to take a playoff. All right? Like, Luka's like, go, you guys run the offense. This is my playoff. I'm just chilling for this one. And, you know, it's working so far because they've been able to do these amazing things with these role players. Down the stretch in the finals, right, is Luka going to be able to just be like, all right, I'm chilling this time. Tatum's going to be like, cool, I'm guarding you, so let's just stand here in the corner and let's let Kyrie see what he can do against Drew Holiday. If that's not there, maybe Derek Jones can get to the hoop, right? And that's the one thing where I see the Mavs need to kind of keep Luka engaged the whole game and the whole offense. Because if he does, I mean, they're incredible. And they can pretty much score whenever they like, however they like. But he still does that taking the plays off thing.
I almost think he has to just not get so tired, because that's one thing I'll bring up in the Boston series is what I'm worried about is you can't really hide Luka. His defense isn't that bad. Like, his defense is fine. It's it's not like he's a liability, but it's also he's not like this all-time defender or whatnot. He's actually made some big-time plays. Like that swat he had on they tried to lob it to Rudy and he swatted. That was one of the biggest plays of the playoffs so far. But anyhow, like, he's not going to be able to hide on defense whatsoever in that Boston series, because Boston has 5 players that can destroy you. I mean, if all 5 players, you have to work your butt off defending. So there's that. I just think the plays off thing, I just think he just is tired and is just trying to conserve energy.
No, I think so too.
And because that was the worst part about those Nets teams with Kyrie. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just take your turn ball every time. It's like, okay, James Harden, you go dance. Okay, Katie. It's like everyone's taking their turn on the dance floor. ISO, dribble, bang, bang, fadeaway jump shot. Oh, it went in 40% of the time.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's true. But the thing is about the Mavs is, they can get away with that. And when they need a bucket, right, it's like you have the best guy for it. Ball.
But Kyrie is looking to pass every play. He's not looking for his own shot hardly ever, unless he has a mismatch he likes. I mean, you saw that one layup. Oh my gosh, where he got switched on to Edwards, and he jab steps right, goes in. That left-handed layup was unbelievable. Like, just stuff like that with Kyrie is awesome. And they're so like. The team is just constructed perfectly around those two guys, around Kyrie and Luka, with guys who can sit in the corner, knock down threes, guys who can crash the boards a little bit, rim running guys like Derek Lively. I mean, Derek Lively is just the perfect fit for this team. I mean, you're not going to find a more pro Derek Lively podcast than this one. I've been preaching to the choir since halfway through the Duke season last year. I'm like, this guy is going to be unreal in the NBA. He's the perfect big man that can just. He's not going to take up any possessions for you. He's only going to be a complimentary big man, and that's what you need for a guy like Luka. And so, yeah, just like I said again, amazing front office moves by the Mavs.
Yeah, I love this Dallas front court with Gafford and Lively. Lively's like a baby DeAndre Jordan who like moves a little bit better too, and it can shoot free throws better. And Gafford's like this, I don't know, Tristan Thompson, who's actually good. Yeah. He just like bangs down low and is able to get shots up. And
what I loved about Gafford too is he was horrific in that game 3 yesterday. He was terrible.
Yeah.
And when Lively went out and he wasn't doing much, he wasn't crashing the boards real well. He was getting silly fouls. Guess what? end of the game, the nastiest swat. I mean, he swatted that thing so hard, and just he was always engaged. These guys on the defensive end are just locked in like you've never seen on the Dallas Mavericks side.
Yeah, it's going to be Dallas, Boston in the finals. All right, if it's not, I will, I'll tase myself live.
No, then you'll be right because Wolves in 7.
Right. No, then I'll be right. But I'm saying right now, if Mavs don't go to the finals, I'll tase myself live on stream. Dude. But it's the ultimate, like, Boston's, like, by the book, stats. It's like Moneyball. And then it's just, like, vibes with Dallas. Like, they're just the ultimate, like, these guys are, like, young, and they're, besides Kyrie, right? And they're just out here hooping. The bench is going crazy after everything. Gafford and Washington are flexing on dudes, right? And it's just like the ultimate vibe versus the ultimate, this is like basketball. This is our stats. Yeah. This is what we're going to do. And I can't wait to watch. It's going to be fun.
I'm very excited. I want every single game to be close just so we can finally be vindicated with everything. Whether it's, okay, Tatum stepped up and hit the big shots at the end of the games. It's so crazy to know that whatever happens, this is any NBA Finals, obviously, but whatever happens in this one, especially with these two guys, what does that do for their careers? How are they talked about differently? I mean, the difference in how we talk about Giannis and Jokic compared to how we talk about Paul George and, who's another super, like, SGA and Anthony Edwards are too young. I mean, even, like, if
Booker... Bradley
Devin
Beal,
Booker, Damian Lillard, like those kind of guys. It's just you talk about them in this totally different way, and it'll be so interesting whether Boston feels that pressure too much. And like the one thing I'm really looking forward to in these NBA Finals is the impact that Kyrie Irving has on this game. The whole Kyrie Boston stuff, sure, whatever, it'll get blown out of proportion. Every media outlet's going to talk about it, and we'll probably even touch on it ourselves. Or the Porzingis revenge stuff. Like, people will do that. But I'm so curious to see how Kyrie's experience being there in the finals multiple times and also winning the finals and hitting the biggest shot, one of the biggest shots in NBA history, how that impacts the finals, whether he can be the best player to step up in these finals. And we won't do predictions yet. Yet, but I want to take the Mavs so bad, but we'll see it on our next episode.
Is this like the best case scenario
for
finals?
The NBA?
Yeah, no, not for everybody. Just for us, our viewing pleasure. Would Minnesota be a little bit more fun?
I think either way it would have been awesome.
I just like the fact that there's a little bit of like, oh, we didn't see that coming, but it's like, this is awesome. Like, I love seeing the Dallas play.
OKC would have probably been the worst case out of the Final Four in the West to come out.
Yeah,
I think they were probably the most boring team. I mean, you can say Denver's boring, but the fact that they would have gone back to back, would have been exciting. But yeah, and the other thing too is like you wanted Boston out of the East as like a neutral fan because you're just like, okay, I want to see this team because any other team in the East is getting cooked by the Mavs or the Timberwolves. Any other team is just getting an injured Bucks team, an injured Knicks team, an injured Pacers team. None of these teams were touching them. So, yeah, man, I'm so excited. I'm gonna dive into every stat, all this stuff, and then I just know I'm gonna come on this podcast next week, and everything. I know every stat's gonna tell me to pick Boston. Every single thing I look at, every number, everything is going to tell me to pick Boston. But then I'm just going to sit there and be like, okay, tie game minute. I'm just going to do what I've said all playoffs. Tie game, a minute left. Who do I want? I want Luke and Kyrie. But also, will that ever happen? Will the Celtics just be up 8 at the end of games? Will it ever get to that point? Well, it's just so many things, and I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Me too. What's that?
I was going to ask you real quick, as a Celtics fan, playing against the Mavericks, this probably had to be the second team you're most worried about besides Denver, right?
I'm not going to lie. I think I was a little more worried about Minnesota because I think the way...
Dallas?
Yeah, because I low key like a lot of the matchups against Dallas, because the Jays should be able to get pretty much any shot they want as long as Luke is out there. And with Minnesota, I was a little afraid of like there was going to be like no points in the paint because of the defensive presence there and stuff like that. But
yeah, and plus with Minnesota too, there would have been no pressure on them too, and if the fact that they would have had to win the Western Conference Finals, and they would have had that momentum carrying into the finals, I guess helps a lot too,
yeah. So I think this is best case scenario, but I'll tell you what, Lucas scares the heck out of me. Like,
yeah,
Karter, what he's doing is insane.
I mean,
it's
Chase,
special.
When he got switched on to Gobert, was there a sliver of doubt in your mind he was making that shot?
No,
Or he was missing that shot?
First off, I knew exactly what move he was pulling. Like I'm like, this is a step back three, and I was like, this is in. This is Luka Doncic. Like, yes, yeah. Karter, I have a question and the spicy one to end the pod. All right. If Luka pulls this off, if he wins the finals, if Luka Doncic takes the Dallas Mavericks and win the finals, does he take over Jokic as best player in the league?
Can I have a cop-out answer and say 1A, 1B? Because I feel like it's just. I just don't want to fall into so much recency bias, but it would be hard to refute it. It would be really hard to refute it, but then you also have to look at it, okay, let's plop Jokic on this Mavs team. Where are they at? Are they better? Is the supporting cast around Luka better than what Jokic has in Denver? I don't know. I would have a slight lean towards Jokic still being the best player in the league, but you could talk me into Luka if he does pull this off and they win the finals.
I mean, he had to go through the teams he did, and to beat OKC, Minnesota, Boston and
the Clippers.
Yeah.
But wait, what's your answer?
I don't know if I'd say like Luke is the best player in the league anymore. Like
it's him or Jokic.
Yeah, I'd be like, I still think Jokic is better because he makes everyone else so better. But I'd be like, Luke is like now the guy in the league. Does that make sense? Like he's the face of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it would be Luka's league now. Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like KD and LeBron. Like, not a little bit. LeBron was still the best player.
It was like LeBron was always better, but like KD's like, oh, he's so good offensively. But I was like,
Curry was kind of the guy, and then LeBron was the best player.
Right. Curry was like, Curry was never like, I'm not going to take him 1-on-1 against everybody in the league.
No,
but he was the guy. It was his league. Yeah,
but you could almost talk yourself into either one of those guys 1-on-1. Like, it's so close, but I would still lean slight edge towards the Jokic, like you said, because makes everyone around him a little bit better and whatnot. But this podcast has been going on forever. I didn't think I text you to say, just short pod, whatever. Oh yeah, we're hour 32 into this podcast.
We always say that.
Yeah, it's too easy. We get on these tangents, and then all of a sudden you have like a page of notes or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, we're an hour and a half in, and just off the cuff random hypotheticals that we just come up with on the spot. But anyhow, before we go, Bill Walton passed away. Sad day, bad day. Bill Walton after the BYU Utah game. They always say don't meet your idols. Bill, it was just as advertised. It was more than advertised. You hear all these stories about Bill Walton on podcasts and on ESPN and whatnot, and you're like, okay, is he putting on a front? Is he? No. It was quick 10, 15-minute conversation with them. We were the last ones in the building at the Utah's arena, whatever it's called, and he was just the nicest guy. He was as advertised. Talked to him, talked about his book and everything. Talked about Ali Khalifa actually for a good bit. He loved himself some Ali Khalifa.
Oh, you just knew he would.
It sucks. We lose Bill Walton. Poetic, it happened right when the Pac-12 goes. But yeah, man, it's gonna it's like college basketball, huge dent in college basketball now. Not sitting here, especially if you're on the East Coast, you get those 11:30 tip-offs, and you're like, oh, I can stay awake. Like I'm up right now watching UCLA versus Washington on a Thursday night because of Bill Walton. So it stinks. One of the best guys. one of the dream interviews you've always would have always wanted to had. Grateful I got to meet him and everything. But rest in peace, Bill Walton. He's the man.
Yeah, rest in peace. Just a world-class human being.
Yeah, and Celtics legend.
And a world-class basketball player. Like, if y'all don't know it, go look up Bill Walton stuff. He was one of the best. He's awesome.
The 30 for 30, it's long. There's like 6-7 parts, whatever. It must watch. It's so good. It's a deep dive, and I think about those people that do those documentaries all the time, and you're just like, man, dude, like you have to be so vulnerable in that spot to do that documentary where, he's talking about, he's like, yeah, I had financial problems, I was going through these health difficulties, stuff in my marriage, I was having trouble, at home with stuff and whatnot, and there's like, it takes a lot to go on a documentary and talk about that stuff. Like, I don't think I would ever do that. I would never sit there, dish out all my problems on and it's just a really great documentary. It's a must watch. It's really cool. You get a deep dive, and the coolest part is you see like high definition footage of him playing at UCLA and in Portland, and just his passing ability, man. I mean, like people always make the comparison Jokic before Jokic and whatnot, and you watch the highlights. I went on a binge where I watched a bunch of 86 Celtics games, like full games. I found some random channel on YouTube, and I would watch a bunch of 86 Celtics games during COVID just to see it. And the ball movement was insane, especially for that time where everything's just so slow and guys just aren't as talented as they are today. And just the way he could pass the ball, unbelievable. But, yeah, rest in peace, Bill Walton. Sad day, bad day. It sucks, but anyhow, that does it from us. Follow us on Twitter at Connor_Sparrow. Even though he's not here today, he'll be on next episode at Chase_Rogers0 at CarterB8. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Use code CarterCast. $20 off your first purchase. $50 minimum purchase required. Terms and conditions do apply. Use code CarterCast. That's KarterCast at SeatGeek.com for your next sporting event. $20 off. Chase. We got the NBA Finals coming up, man. I mean, the Celtics are – you knew it was always going to happen. To the Mavs fans out there, what do you say as the Celtics fan? Put the Celtics hat on, not the try to be unbiased. It's Celtics fan time.
All right, Celtics fan time. Congrats, but it's over. But this is Boston's title. Like, this is literally like –
I know. I knew this is deep down.
It's team of destiny.
Yeah, deep down, it was always going to be, no one's beating Boston. Boston against the world. It's
Boston against. I know everyone hates me. I know everyone hates the city. I know everyone hates the team. I literally could not care less. This is their title to win, dude. Like, Jason and Jalen have been doing this for years. It's all been leading up to this, and no one's gonna get in the way. Sorry, but Dallas. Like, I genuinely do like the Mavericks. I think they're really fun. But yeah, screw you guys. It's over.
Genuinely, if the Celtics lose in the NBA Finals, as a diehard Celtics fan as yourself, will you cry?
No, I won't cry. I don't let sports get to me that much. But
I think you might cry.
No, I'll just go into like 0 dark 30, and I'll be off my phone for a while, and I'll be sitting, probably reading a book, getting my mind right. I'll be very sad, Carter.
Because people would ask me, whenever the Duke Carolina game was coming up in the Final Four, biggest game of my life, and we lose, and. Well, the national title games are bigger than that. Let's not get that twisted. National title games mean more. Hang banners. Carolina blew the biggest lead in the first half in national title history against Kansas. Anyhow, not besides the point. Everyone asks you, you're like, oh, are you going to cry if they lose or whatnot? And no, you just go into a depression where you're like,
yep.
Yeah, why do I even care about sports? What's the meaning of all this? Like, why do I care? Like, this is all stupid. Life is stupid. Sports are stupid. Like, and you're having to walk down Bourbon Street at 3 a.m. watching Carolina fans, celebrate like, they solved world hunger, and it's terrible. But anyhow, we've been going too long. This is taking forever on the outros. Sorry about that. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. We already said that before. CarterCast on all social media. Apple, Spotify. Rate, review, subscribe. Please, please, please. Thank you so much. We'll see you all next time. Bye.